Michael, it's my pleasure tonight to introduce our speaker, Jose Rosa. Rosa is the name of his company. Jose was born in Brooklyn, which turns out is an experience he shared with my client we just discovered. He was born of, his parents were Puerto Rican. He went to college and went to the Institute, the Pratt Institute in New York City, got a degree in architecture, became interested in art, worked for a while as an architect, started getting involved in art, moved to San Diego, became very active with the artists here in San Diego, ended up representing a bunch of artists, ended up hearing a talk by Bill Gates, which was before Windows 95, and Bill Gates was talking about how this new program he had was going to revolutionize computers and what people were doing with computers. And Jose was so motivated by it that he ended up going back to school in computers. Ended up starting his company, Rosa, which is his present company, in 1996. And started doing website development. This was before really the whole field had developed. So he was one of the first in the field. He started to evolve, as he evolved with the technology, started thinking about getting involved with lawyers, and coincidentally, my firm, Casey Gary, was their first legal client 10 years ago. And we've worked with Jose since, developing our website, trying to develop as best we could in terms of marketing. He's worked very closely with my partner, Fred Chang, but I've also been very involved since I've enjoyed websites. It's been quite an evolution and experience. Jose is here tonight to talk about what he's learned. Is now his company's practice is mostly lawyers. Almost all his clients now are law firms. It's called Web Juris, I think is actually the name of the form under. He's done our Casey Gary website, which, interestingly, as I mentioned earlier tonight to someone, it used to be when you had contact with a potential client and you gave them their card, or however they came in contact with you, they would go to the yellow pages and look and see what your ad looked like, make sure that you're in the yellow pages. Nowadays, since 70% of the people in America have access to the web and are very used to it, what happens is they get your card and they go and look on the web and immediately check you out. If you're not on the web, then you don't exist for the most part for those clients. It's good for us, as our practice has developed, we're getting more and more of our cases off the internet, and Jose has been part and parcel of that in helping us develop the site and helping us to translate hits into actual clients. Since that time, Jose has worked with a lot of the law firms. I'm sure he'll mention large firms like Gibbs Fletcher, small firms, individual solo practitioners. I think recently, I think he was Deborah Baez's site as a service to the community. He helped the County Bar Association redo our site. If you looked at it recently, you'll see that we made an improvement. LRS did it also, and it's exciting to hear from Jose about it in terms, and hopefully we'll address that. Apparently the traffic is kind of blowing socks off in terms of what LRS is getting off the web. This is possible for all of us. It's a way to get yourself out there and get known. You're out there, your website is speaking for you, even though you're not out there. It's a tremendous advantage. Jose also graciously does work for some pro bono legal organizations as well. He tries to do one a year. Did the San Diego Volunteer Lawyers Program, pro bono. Also a Catholic organization called Casa Familia, which provides legal services to undocumented persons that need legal advice. Quite a great guy, come a long way. He's got a lot of experience. He's learned a lot, and he's here tonight to share it with us. And And it's my pleasure to introduce Jose Rosa, the President, Chairman, and man about town for Ozark on the web. Don't believe any of it. It's all lies. Your mom said she would love that, though.
Good evening. I'd like to thank Mary for making this possible, and also Rebecca for giving me the invitation to begin with. Tom touched on a couple of points that I think are kind of important. The days of the good old boy network referrals being your primary source of new clientele, and for the most part, this applies no matter what the practice areas are. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, are days of really limiting yourself, if that's the thinking. Everyone, I mean, the percentage is actually 73% in this country of people online. For people, especially if you're over 40, 45 years old, there's still something in your head that tells you, well, who's online, like 16-year-old kids. Those days are gone, and in web terms, they were gone a long time ago. We're meeting with a lot of attorneys that don't need to insult anyone, but are living in what, from our perspective, is the 19th century. They haven't even worked in the 20th, in the sense that they don't understand that they're missing out on things. Many, especially, and I'm referring to small firms now, because they had what we call cousin builder, and they had it up for a month. We call them cousins because they're like that, right? You know somebody that's in high school, knows age kid, and they put together a website for you. And you had it up 2 years, and then absolutely. So the first time they talk to me or they're coming to something called a West Coast. Well, yeah, because look what we did. There's not much of an effort. Well, no, my kind of cases aren't going to come from the web. Well, no, not if you don't know how to work it and find those people. So tonight, what I'd like to talk about and specifically address, I mean, is there anyone here that's in a firm more than 4 or 5 people? Aside from you, Tom. Okay, I'm trying to tailor just small, because as Tom mentioned, a lot of our clients and what got us on our feet were the larger firms, and Casey Gary was integral to that. But they're well situated for the most part, even if they're not our clients directly. Most of them have marketing directors, like Sherry Shank at C4 Law. Higgs has a whole PR firm that works for them. Most of them, Morrison Forrester, all of the large firms, they have this kind of stuff under control. So when they interview with me, it's really a direct competition against who we consider our competition. So whether they hire us or them, they're usually going to be in good hands. But more and more, when we talk to the small firms, frankly, don't even know what questions to ask. They're not even sure what the possibilities are. So rather than sitting down and talking about the particulars of a kind of approach or what type of traffic, most of the time I'm more selling them on the idea of the web at all, rather than selling them on my firm. The single practitioner usually has his hands full with the cases that he has to deal with. And most of you guys went to law school. Very few of you have MBAs. So, with the majority, lawyers don't think like business people. I'm hoping that we can change that at least a little bit, because you're missing out on a big share of what you could be getting. It is something that would be in addition to whatever is keeping your practice going now. You had it working. It was all working perfectly before you. I'm going to go forward and then just jump into the screens. the main things that if there's a single concept really that's important to take in is that being online is really not different than offline, or what most people call real life. When I have a sister and she got hit by a car and I need an attorney and I don't know anything about lawyers, what do I do? You know, how do I judge your address, what your office looks like, the kind of furniture you have? I mean, how does someone that knows nothing about law pick a lawyer? Well, tonight we're kind of in the opposite situation, and that's what I want to help with. I'm not particularly trying to sell you on my firm, although I would love to do business, obviously. That's not my goal. My goal is to get you guys to be good clients, because that's what you need to be. If you take web marketing seriously, you're in a position where you're going to bring on a partner. We refer to ourselves as your web partner. It's not a thing where even if your practice is really lucrative and you have more money than you know what to do with, that you can call me up and say, how much do I send you, put a check in the mail, and it gets done. It's not that simple. There has to be a good amount of involvement from your side. And that's something you have to be prepared for. But even before that point, how do you know that WebJuris is the firm that you should choose, or one of our competitors? If you go online and you look up Web Design San Diego or Legal Web Design or any of those, you're going to get similar results to what you get for law firms, which is first 10 out of 3,540,000. Well, I can guarantee you there aren't that many web designers, even bad ones, in San Diego County. And of the ones that are legitimate, how do you know the ones that would fit your practice? You've got to take it. So that's really what the talk is going to be on. This is not a how-to, so anybody that does their own website and wants to know how to boost their numbers up, this is not going to do you much good. We, frankly, would never suggest that, and not only out of self-interest, it's professionalism. I don't think that if I were arrested tonight for whatever the cause, that as I'm in jail, my goal is going to be to try and get through law school so that I can make bail. I think it would make the same amount of sense the other way. You already have your hands full with what you do, running your practice, running your cases, running your office, to then say, okay, well, you know what? This web stuff doesn't look so hard, so I'm going to, start buying books and reading. Questionable decision. But finding the right person to work with, just like me finding the right attorney, is what we recommend. And that's what hopefully will get better today. Okay, let's go through stuff. Yeah, okay, so Tom gets a little closer. Wow. This is the screen that should have been up when I was talking about. Do I really need to stand by the mic? Can you hear me? Thank you. I tend to pace it. Online and offline should be the same. You are a business. Your firm is a business. Forget that you're lawyers. That's your product. From our perspective, that's just a product, that's a service that you sell. But the marketing aspects of promoting yourselves are very little different than Coca-Cola, than any other business. And branding is a major aspect of that. Getting your name to look the same, to have the same colors, to use the same fonts, the same kind of imagery over and over and over and over again, whether it's a corporate brochure, which this is an inside part of, whether it's your letterhead, whether it's your business cards, whether it's your website. I thought it was This is what we call for the site, look and feel. Now, for the most part, this is all you actually get to see. So most people, when they're picking a web partner, that's what they're going to base it on, is what does the site look like. And of course, this is important, because this is also what your potential clients see. But it's only one aspect, only one. But the important thing for that one, there was a lot of debate in my office as to whether this screen should be included. anybody who has this type of email address, please take this personally. Dump it tomorrow. The web is a lot more sophisticated place than you might think it is. And just as there are standards in the real world, online there are. And what these say is, I have no clue what I'm doing online. And to these, you can include Gmail, you can include MSN, give me a couple others. Yeah, thank you. If you're writing to the grandkids like that, you're right on. That's what these are supposed to be for. They're personal accounts. Most of them are free, which is probably why you got them in the first place. But if my attorney sent me an email with one of these, I'd find a new attorney. Because this is telling me that he doesn't know. He doesn't know that this is not a good idea. So what else doesn't he know that's not a good idea? There are a lot of little things. It's kind of like going into a chat room and typing in all caps. Oh, you will get jumped on very quickly because that's the equivalent of me screaming right now. And you don't do that. So there's online etiquette. And this is one of the factors that we want to account. Now, there was supposed to be a screen after this to show basically the equivalent of a site designed by what we call cousins. And we already kind of talked a little bit about what cousins are. So make believe we're not looking at this one right now. The problem was that there are plenty of those sites out there, but it would have been actually putting somebody on the line and saying, look how bad this is. So the ill-designed website, and right now we're talking strictly about look and feel, is something that's the equivalent of having, think of the most horrible circumstances you can possibly imagine of having your office in and inviting a client into it, where, I mean, you're sitting on soda crates. This is not going to impress somebody who doesn't know how to judge you on anything better than your leather couch versus soda crates. Well, you want that leather couch, right? It's your front to the world is important. We used North County Bar to show what a well-designed site should look like. Now, granted, we had second thoughts about it because it's not a law firm, but it has the elements that we need. It's easy to find what you want. The menu is laid out well, and it's professional. It has an image that presents that we know what we're doing. Go to the next one. For where's Mary? This is the part of the site that she knows best. You guys will never see it. It's really important that you be able to update your sites quickly and accurately because things change in the law, without having to learn to do what we do. Well, this is an admin panel, and it's about as difficult as shopping on Amazon. Thank you. That's a compliment I'll take. And basically, she could dump one of you and add another one in 2 seconds. Pictures, text, everything. And it's not only for members, this is the personnel section that we have to do this, but for committees, for any news, the calendar, which is actually shown in a lot of different ways. All of these things without knowing anything about how to access and change a website. It's all really simple. Now, not every one of the sites that we do has this. Granted, it's the higher end ones, because there's a cost-benefit kind of ratio. If you're a single practice, things aren't going to change that often, so it's really worth doing the program buildings. But in an ideal situation, the website should be able to update itself very easily, very quickly. So these are the kind of things you want to look for when you're judging other. So now you got a site and it looks good, okay? Even if your cousin did it, can anybody find you? Online, Tom brought up a case where, yeah, I'm sure there are a good amount of people that get your brochure, get your business card, and then go do some due diligence online. But really what paid off for you there was having nice business cards, having a nice brochure. The website was secondary. The reality, though, is that if you treat the web correctly, and I encourage all of you to do so, mostly because in the next year, I can guarantee that there will be more people that know you via your website that have been through your office in your entire career. So you tell me which face to the world is more important. And they're all coming through search engines. You're not interested in the ones who type in your name. Oh, I'm in the search engines because if you type in, Foley and Lardner, there I am. Well, the average person doesn't know who Foley and Lardner is, and they're a large firm. The average person knows, I broke my leg, it's that guy's fault, who can help? And those are called keywords. And there are two ways to get that out there. One of them, and that's the example that we're highlighting here, is called pay-per-click. Now, Google isn't the only one that does this, but they are about 50% of all web traffic. So they're the big 800-pound gorilla in the room that you have to deal with. Pay-per-click is nice because it's simple. You can tell me today I want a lot of traffic, basically as much as your checkbook can handle, in the next week. Tomorrow morning, your campaign is running. A week from now, you ran out of money. That's as much as you want to do, and it's shut down. The problem with that is that per visitor, it's expensive. And so we rarely look at pay-per-click as a long-term strategy. The search engines change. This is 2001. This is 2004, so this is 2007. For those of you familiar with the web back in the day, you'll notice there are a lot of names in the sea. There's consolidation, but there's also one eating the other. None of them has no arrows, and you see that there's different what the colors of the arrows mean. We get a lot of people saying, I want high rankings on Google. That's all I'm interested in, that's all I'll pay for. Sorry, go somewhere else. Because you're not going to let me teach you that what you're asking for isn't possible. If you want rankings on one, you have to have rankings on the other. Without DMOS, you're not going to get good Google. And just because they're 50% of the business, is there anybody here that could wake up tomorrow and go, I don't need 50% of my business? Now, granted, that other 50% is broken up. There's 25% chunk. Yahoo is still real big, and essentially my favorite actually is Ask. It's my favorite. My search is the most active, the best one. But Google is still the most popular one. But you have to get all of them. You have to address, and each one of them has different things that they think are important. This is called search engine optimization, and we're going for organic results here for the next one. This is a search for personal injury. 24 million results. My job is to get you on the first page. Let's go back a little bit. Wow. And we do it. How do we do that? All kinds of stuff. This is what a website actually looks like. Most of you never see it, but this is the actual code behind it. One of the things that search engines do is send out what's called spiders. They're also called bots, web crawlers, a bunch of different things. But what they are little tiny pieces of software that go out and read what's on your website, bring it back into the directories. So when you do a search on Yahoo or Ask, you're not searching the web. You're searching their database of previously crawled websites. Well, one of the first things that the crawlers do is take into account what's called meta tags. This is meta name. This tells you what the content is. This all has to be done well. And well doesn't often mean what you think it means. It doesn't, a lot of people, will put in real estate. Well, that's great, but the average person doing research just for real estate isn't looking for an attorney. So you have to understand what the keywords that get traffic of the type that you're looking for are. A good search engine marketing firm will have tools that can do reverse queries to the search engine. Basically, it's the opposite of how most people search. It's, this is what we do. Tell me, what do people type in to find me? We come back with those. Now, half the time, or a little bit less, maybe 30% of the time, we'll be wrong because we don't know your industry well enough. So a large part of it is that negotiation back and forth to make sure that these terms are accurate from your perspective, but from our perspective, they're actually searched for, and they're searched for the reasons you want them to be searched for. These are alt tags. Now, sometimes you'll see these by accident because your mouse will just happen to go over a picture and this little yellow thing will come up. These have a lot of purposes. One of them is the same as the meta tags, which is the crawlers can't know what that picture is. They can't know what its relationship is to the site. So the text tells them, oh, okay, I see that picture, it's about San Diego, and these guys are in San Diego, so it makes sense. But there's another purpose. You have a large population in this nation of people online that one of the fastest people, the group of people to embrace technology have been people with disabilities. So you have a lot of blind people, you have a lot of deaf people who use the web. In fact, in a higher percentage to people that don't have disabilities. Well, obviously if they're blind, they can't see the picture. But the alt tags, they have special browsers, like you use internet or there's a lot of different browsers, Netscape. You just look at the picture, that's all you need. Their browsers actually read verbally to them. And when it comes to an alt tag, we'll tell them what they're missing. But for our purpose, the main point is the search engines, although we pay attention to disabilities too. We'll talk about that also. Go to the next. Links. This is Google. Okay, let's get this out. I don't like it. I don't think Google is a search engine. I think Google is me having to relive not being king of the prom all over again. They are a popularity contest. That's what it amounts to. If you go to ask and you do a query, you do a search, sorry, I'll try to keep it. You do a search, it will base on the content of the sites that fit the search that you did. Google uses as their primary indicator links back to your site. Now, in theory, that kind of makes sense. It's like saying, well, Tom Penfield's over there. If he's got 12 friends in this room, he must be an important guy. Yeah, except what you don't know is that he paid 6 of them to be his friends. So guess what we want you to do? Refunds will be available after this. So you're caught in a game where, in theory, if everyone were completely honest and didn't try to juggle the game, maybe it could work. I don't know. But the reality is that all business, and this is not just legal, this is all business right now, starts on the web. Who bought a house here in the last year and didn't do a web search? Who bought a car here in the last year and didn't do a web search? Who bought a pair of sneakers last year and didn't do a web search? Well, that person didn't get the best thing yet. So everyone wants on to the first 3 pages of results. Everyone. Because no one goes beyond that. There are studies that show you are more likely to go to Google and do a search for whatever you're looking for. Look at the first page, close the screen, and open up Yahoo and do the same exact search. Look at their first page, close it, and then go to Ask, rather than go to the 3rd or 4th or 5th page where you started. So you've got to be in the first 3 pages. You've got to be if you're going to get anything. And again, that was out of how many? 24 million? You've got to be there. And Google, again, is 50% of the market. So that means you've got to be there on Google, and Google wants links. So a good part of that young lady's time right there is spent managing links. And they have to be managed because these guys a week ago said, hey, I tell you what, if you give us a link to this page, we'll give you a link to that page. And they can't be directly reciprocal because Google has a bot that can smell those out. So it's we have to link to that one links to this one links to that one. Well, that's great. 3 weeks later, that site blows up and goes away. So all of a sudden, we're giving out a link, but we're not getting back one anymore. So the constant management of checking up on are the links still good? Is it a site? Because the links only count if they're related to begin with. They can't be, you're a personal injury in Vista, you don't want another personal injury in Vista on there, but they've got to be related. So it can be an insurance company, it could be a car repair because you do auto accidents. But they're wondering, why do we need lawyers? So this is a lot of work, but without it, forget Google. So 50% of your traffic just disappears. How do you know who to pick? Well, how about results? And sometimes multiple results for the same search. Again, this happens in case you get you've got a couple of examples too. If a lot of people have asked me, well, how come your firm doesn't rank higher? And sometimes, you know what? It's what's the old story about the children of the shoemaker? Go barefoot. You spend more time working on your client stuff than on your own. I don't care whether my sites rank high or not. We've got like, what, 6 different sites? 7? I want my clients' sites to be seen. And that's what you should be looking for too. What good is it that my sites are everywhere, but you can't find any of my clients? Do your homework. Before you interview with a web developer, do your homework. And one of them is, you know who your competition is better than anyone else could ever tell you. Even though you might go, I don't really have competition. Well, there isn't any competition. Yes, there is, and you know there is, and you know who they are. Well, where do they rank? Who got them there? You might have to start asking questions like that. And it's not too hard to find because usually on their webpage there'll be some kind of credit somewhere at the bottom. Another example, multiple. Okay, so he got your competition onto one of the results, but got 2 or 3 of them? This is for San Diego auto accident lawyer. Now that's Jeff Franks, that's Callaway, yeah. And Casey. Now these are 3 of our clients. Now we're not the only ones who can do this, who have done this. Again, is there anything unique about our firm? Yeah, I'm sure there is, but we can talk about that in private consultation. The fact is we have legitimate competition that are really good. And you can find other firms that can do this kind of thing too. But in San Diego, you can count them on one hand. So the trick is for you to be able to figure out of that half dozen which one makes a good fit for you. Some of them are aimed strictly at large companies, some of them are more mass-produced. So it really, I was talking to somebody earlier about FindLaw, good firm, they have great software. On the web, you need to consider whether it's a good fit for you or not. Next one. And can it happen spread over different searches? Because you're going to have the typical attorney does more than one type of practice. Talking just a second ago with Mike, and you're across the board. You did personal injury, and now you're doing a lot of business stuff, and real estate stuff. So do the searches in different areas. And again, see if that one where he came up with personal injury, but you do real estate attorney, you can't find it. See if it's consistent, or if the guy just lucked out that day. Because by the way, if we did the same exact search right now, which is what, 7 hours after we originally did this movie, it would be different. In fact, we've done them where he's sitting over there, I'm sitting over here, I do a search, he does the same exact search like a half minute later, and they're not exactly the same. It's constantly changing. There is no end to this, which is why you have to be in the game to play it. It's not a one-shot deal. Now, this is red flags, and we purposely try to write out the names of these companies because we're trying to stay out of the loop, I guess. You're going to see all kinds of, for lack of a better term, and really accurate ones, scams. The competition to get you on those first 3 pages is so fierce that whenever any situation like that, it's just part of the American capitalist system happens, the scam artists are right there trying to cash in on it. So you'll see everything from like this particular one, we'll get you into 200 different search engines. There aren't 200 search engines. You saw the chart. We started out with about 18 back in 98, 99, and it's down to maybe 7 or 8 that count. They had 99% of all traffic on the web starts on those. So you have 1% that goes into these other things. Do you want clients from New Zealand? From France? I mean, don't get me wrong. There are companies that do. But then they focus on those. Why, if they're going after France, why are they showing up on things in New Zealand? That's one conversion. Go to the next rate. Submission. This is one of those terms that, who here can tell me what a submission is? Yeah, see? So it sounds like I know what I'm talking about, I know what I'm doing. We'll submit your websites to all these search engines. Submission is worthless. It means nothing. It means you got into their database of 24 million. It means absolutely nothing, but for 12 months you're gonna pay $300 a month for it. Now, that's not a bad price if it actually got you something, but this will get you nothing. Next. Online shopping malls. They're also called directories. If you sold widgets, there might be some very, very minimal value to this, but to anybody in this room, this is completely worthless. And 5,000 of them, you're talking about websites that get 3 people a year to them. So even being listed in them at the top of their page is meaningless. It will do nothing for your bottom line. That's just not right. Lie. Never going to happen. No how. No way. The exception being pay-per-click. And pay-per-click is about that much for 3 clicks and anything that you guys would be interested in. Typical personal injury, even localized, like San Diego personal injury, what do we have? 18, 19 bucks?
Oh no, 30 to 32.
30 bucks a click, so you'll get 3 clicks out of that. That's not 3 contacts, that's 3 visitors. And this isn't even that. This is just a lie. I mean, they're telling you you're going to have organic rankings in Google, Yahoo, and AOL. Well, that's not going to happen. Anything online, just like in real life, that sounds like it's too good to be true, is too good to be true. It's that simple.
What does organic mean?
Organic is the real rankings, the actual search query you did, as opposed to the little ads that are the pay-per-click rankings. Those are two different things. Organic meaning happens naturally within their system. The next one.
Jose?
Yes.
What do you mean $30 for those of us that don't understand this?
Okay. And we'll do questions after, but I'll take that. We're still in this.
I just don't understand what $30
They're on the search engines. Can you flip back to the one that has the PPC? No, keep on. The one that is the PPC list. Yeah, here. Okay. When you do a search, and it's true, this happens to be Google, but it's true for all the major search engines. You get 2 different kinds of results. This is Tom's question. What's organic? These are the actual searches. So when you talk about search engine optimization, this is content. This is what you searched for. These and these are called pay-per-click. Essentially, they're advertising. This is the ones that I told you, yeah, you could be up and running tomorrow. But for a personal injury, you'd be paying about $30 every time somebody clicked on that and brought 1 visitor to your site. So this can be, I'm going to use your firm again as an example. Casey Gary has a mixture, and I'm not going to go into specifics about it, but a mixture in their marketing program, which is the right mixture. Generally, the main emphasis is to go after these. This is long term. Every time we make a change, they hire a new lawyer, that's a new practice area for them. It's probably anywhere from 4 to 8 months before that practice area gets good rankings in here. That's how much work has to go into it. And it's not like you cut us a check at the end of 8 months. No, you're paying all along to get it there. But this is free. So other than the fee that you're paying a marketing firm to get you in there, there's no cost. So at the front end, it looks like a lot of money because the results don't come for a while. But I expect most of you have hopes of being in practice for at least another year, right? Well, over that year, all of a sudden it pays off because you're getting these clicks and you're still just paying that same little management fee. These will get you immediate satisfaction. Again, your campaign will be up and running tomorrow. By tomorrow night, you'll be getting visitors. Probably by Monday, you'll have contacts. Hopefully, you can turn them into clients because that's the one thing we can't do for you. But to keep that running, where it's showing up on a regular basis for that same year, would probably cost 10 times what it costs a year. So the mix that we come with developing is your main target should be the organic rankings. This is the true bread and butter of the web, which are these, again, the real searches. But there will be exceptions, and one of them that comes up for us a lot is pharmaceutical cases. Anything that winds up turning into mass tort and class action. Usually those things happen very quickly. There's an announcement the FDA announced today that drug X is killing people. Well, tomorrow morning, you want some of those clients, don't you? This is not going to help you. This is not going to help you. This is going to take me 6 months to get you in there. You go for this. And 3 months from now, the judge says, you have 48 hours to put together whoever you're going to be in this class tort, and then that's it. So on that date, this campaign disappears and stops. You start spending money. That is a perfect example of what pay-per-click is good for. You specialize in air accidents. We try to get you general rankings in the organic so that you're there all the time. But all of a sudden, flight 709 went down and 500 people are dead tonight. Tomorrow morning, there's a lot of people looking for attorneys. Again, for that specific case, you want to be here. And you can be the very next morning, train accidents. So there are types of cases that this is completely appropriate for. Then there's the other extreme. And that extreme is, you've been my client for 5 years. You've worked up from paying, $500 a month. You're on a minimal plan of search engine optimization when we first started. It was you and a secretary that you had. This is 5 years later. You now have 3 attorneys working for you under you. You have 5 paralegals under them, 2 of whom are dedicated strictly to handling inquiries through the web. Life is different. Your search engine optimization, because you've expanded your practice areas, has gone all over the place. You're probably in 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 a month. You're getting a lot of traffic, and your question now is, what else can we do? And now it goes back to pay-per-click. But that is a long term at the other end of it, and usually by that time you're at least a fairly large firm. You have a fairly large marketing budget. So for the smaller firms, these are usually in and out. And yeah, $30 for a case that could get you $300,000, it can still pay off, but not on a long term. For dog bites, for car accidents, for those kind of things, no, this is where you want to be. The other thing is, think about television. That favorite show that you watch, what do you do when the commercial comes on? That's the time to go to the bathroom, isn't it? With a sandwich, pop another beer. People are tuned to tuning out commercials. Well, these are commercials. They're ads. So you have very different personality types that go to these. Some, and usually the more sophisticated the visitor is, the more he's basically already set up for tuning out the noise. And that's noise because he knows people are paying for it. He wants what he searched for, and that's coming in here. So whether you do these for particular types of cases or not, you want to get this act together. Okay, let's go back to where we were.
Pay-per-click, what's to stop your competitors from just clicking on your site and running out $30 every time? You're paying $30 every time they and their friends are
lawyers. The search engines themselves have software that monitors. Basically, every one of you, not as an individual, but your computer, because you don't count, it's your computer that counts. Your computer has a name, it's called an IP address. And when you do a query to the search engines, it says computer number 137.509.306 made this query, whether it's pay-per-click or organic. Well, in this case, it happens to be pay-per-click. You clicked on one of those. Their software picks up that 5 minutes later, you click on it again. 5 minutes after that, you click on it again. And in fact, there are some automated softwares, this pirate kind of stuff, that will sit there and click on your ad. But they'll shut those down real quick because most of them are coming from a single IP address and they can recognize that. The other thing is, again, if you're dealing with an established marketing firm, from our end, we can also track the same thing. So we know, wow, they got all these clicks today, but they're all coming from the same place. And so we can go back, and we've only had to do it. Google and Yahoo have actually sent us checks back when they've caught in the past for our client. Obviously, that goes as a credit back to the client. But there was one incident, it was a while ago, almost 5 years ago, where we caught one. So there's if you're dealing, with a reputable firm, again, you have a secondary line of defense against that kind of thing happening. The primary one is the search engines themselves. You're their advertisers. They want to try and keep you happy. You're not going to be happy if you're spending $30 a click. This month you spent $3,000 and you got 2 visitors. We'll show some other stuff here too. One of the things that you want to look at when, and this is our website, the WebJurist site, is who are these people? Again, as opposed to a cousin who, he's in his second year of college, sure, he'll build you a website for $1,000, great. But he's going to graduate, he's gone. And even before he graduates, partying is looking real good to him. And the next day you realize that you've got major typos, you can't find the guy. This is not someone that you want basically in charge of what, if you do correctly, is the single most important aspect of your entire practice. It is the doorway through which 60 to 70% of all of your clientele will come through. You're going to put that in the hands of Mr. 19-year-old, I'd rather get drunk tonight? He might be a genius. 2 years later when he graduates, he might make a great employee for me as part of a team. But him by himself being responsible for your presence makes no sense whatsoever. And by the way, the team is something that you need to consider. The days of, HTML, build me a website, if it's a true corporate level website, those days are gone. We have minimum staff requirements, 9 people. And that's with no redundancy. Every one of those people is a single department. Not a single one of those people, including me, in fact I can't do it with any of them, but can get up and switch chairs and do the other one's job. Paul, the guy that's running the laptop right now, basically, if you were one of our clients and you had anything, any kind of issues that had to do with hosting or email, the technical side, basically you'd speak with him. If it was search engine marketing, it would be Mike in the back. We have Bob Nelson, who's our art director. We have programmers. We have marketing people who know more about the look and feel. None of them has skills. They all know computers really well, but they use real different softwares. And what they're trying to accomplish is different. Now, the reality is that when you call us, you don't talk to any of them. You talk to me your time. Who has to do it, how it gets done, and where it gets done, that's not your problem. Your problem is, I know what I want to accomplish. I know I either want more traffic, or I like to change the way the site looks, or I have new wording, or we're a different practice area. You talk to one person, and it happens. How it happens, well, we've got the people to make it happen, and make sure it happens correctly. But, again, the programmer, oh God, can you imagine Jim actually designing the look and feel for our site? That would be horrible. He's a great programmer. He's one of these kids that that you read about that could pretty much do C++ before they could speak English. But visually, no, this is not the guy you want doing the look and feel of your website. When you hire an individual, most of the time, you're going to hire someone like the individuals in my company. Not a single one of them, least of all me, because I can do almost none of it, would be appropriate. You need a team, but you can't afford to hire 5 or 6 different people. So you need to hire a company that has all of that in place. And yeah, BBB is something that you want to look at. Is this a company that's established well enough and has been around for a long time? What they've done in the past is a good indicator of what's going to happen in the future. Will they be here a year from now, 2 years from now? Or is it the one guy that decided to move to Idaho and live on a farm? Okay. Questions to ask, things to look at. The reverse of the searches is look at portfolios. Look at not only how the sites actually look to you, because again, you're not an expert in graphic design. You might know what you like. That's what I used to hear in art galleries all the time, right? I don't know anything about art, but I know what I like this one. Well, for a painting, that's okay. It's going to hang in your living room, all your friends are going to see it. This is something that the world is going to see. If you do it right, a lot of people. So you want a little bit more input than just your own taste.
Those dogs are gone off the website.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
This one's called like you said dogs.
Yeah. Little doggies are gone. Yeah. I'm not going to pick on you there for your. I like you. Yeah. I'm assuming somebody here saw the website before we Tom, you brought that up. I want it for the record. That wasn't me. Do the companies that you're interviewing, are they familiar with your industry? More and more, when we started out, a web designer was a web designer was a web designer, and we were the same way. And our attitude was, you know what? If I can build a website for widgets, I can build it for Pepsi Cola, I can build it for a chiropractor. Not anymore. There are too many specialized areas that we found that if we take on a client from a completely different industry, the amount of time that we have to spend learning about that industry, there's no way we could ever charge that client that much money that he'd be willing to pay it. So, and we're not the only ones going through these realizations. So the legitimate firms have broken off and are specializing. So there are firms like mine who just do dentist sites. That's it, that's all they do. Well, we went with law. And by the way, several of you have websites now, and again, this is a little freebie. And on your website, you either have an email link or you have a contact form, and you do not have a privacy policy. You are breaking the law. You have to have a privacy policy on your website. It doesn't matter what it is. You can actually put up there that you're going to take every email you get and sell it to the highest bidder, especially to spammers. That can be your privacy policy. The law does not stipulate what it is, but you have to have one, and it has to be clear what you will and what you won't do with every contact that you get. So if you are doing it yourself, go home tonight and do that real quick. References. Don't hire anyone without talking to previous clients. We have a bunch of letters. Don't believe them. I could have typed those up myself. Don't believe them. Actually pick up the phone. Not all of our clients want us to be on our list of references, and I understand that. But a lot of them are real okay with it. We will not give phone numbers or names until we're at a certain point in negotiations, because just too many people call us just looky-loos and wanting prices and stuff, and I don't want to harass my own clients or have them harassed by other potential clients. But at a certain point where basically all that's left in the decision-making process is you want to make sure that previous clients are happy. At that point, we are happy to give you names and addresses, and the ones that we give you, those are clients who have said, yes, it's okay, we'll take a call with that. Fred is unbelievable. Fred Shank, Tom's partner. I've gotten clients back, because after they talk to him, they're not potential, they're clients. They were on the phone for 30, 40 minutes, which is above and beyond the call of duty. I mean, I expect, yeah, he's a good guy, they do a good job, good luck. he'll talk your ear off. He loves talking this stuff.
You notice you don't see my letter up there.
I haven't gotten one from you yet.
Dog, what's that?
Let's go to the okay, I mentioned earlier about why it takes so long. The reality is most of the true search engines, Yahoo, MSN, Ask, don't take that long. Even with a brand new website with a brand new domain, usually you can start getting good rankings within about 3 to 4 months. Guess who the big exception is? Google. And they do it on purpose. The other ones all have good reasons how often their bots crawl and all of this. It's just a matter of how it works. But Google does it on purpose. Because they're the 800-pound gorilla, they can make their own rules arbitrarily, and they don't care whether you like them or not. So they have a policy, and we know this not because they've told anybody, because the search engines are more top secret than the FBI. You get leaks out of the FBI. You don't get leaks out of search engines. But by basically trial and error with them, and this is off a discussion board where people are just talking back and forth, basically people like her back there trying to figure out what's going on. And if you've got a new website with a new domain, basically Google is going to take you and put you on the side. So you've been submitted, but you're not going to even show up on that 24th million page. You do not rate yet. You have to pass their test. And their test is that 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, nobody knows quite sure. We've lucked out. And by month 6, wow, there they are. We got ranking on them. We've had other clients at month 14, they're into their 2nd year of a contract with us, and they're not hitting Google yet. So there isn't a magic number. We haven't been able to pin them down. But what everyone, not only in our firm, but all the SEs know for sure is that they are doing this. That, wow, we launched the site 3 months later in Yahoo, they're on page 3. On MSN, they're on page 5. On Google, they're nowhere. They're being put into a sandbox. So there is a matter of patience from your end. And it's not sit back and wait patience. It's work like hell patience. It's do everything you can in the meantime so that when you are included in there, you get good rankings. This is off of our website, and it's just an example of pricing for us. But most of our competitors have similar type things. Now, you'll go to my website, and you're not going to see any of this because I don't want to show my competition what I'm charging. You'll get a username and password, and then you'll be able to see this kind of stuff, and you'll actually see the details of the package. This one is just comparing one package to another. But price is the least factor. And I know this is going to sound real self-serving and anti-intuitive, but it is the least important thing of all of the things that I brought up tonight when you compare different web partners. It's not a matter of how much you pay, because we have packages at all different prices, and we have custom ones here that just the numbers keep going that are assigned for your firm. I doubt many firms represented here tonight will start off in that area. But what do you get for that? What kind of results are they promising? And what are the actual services that you get? What will be accomplished? Are you going to wind up on those 2,000 search engines that they talk about? Hopefully not. How am I in time direction? We're good. Okay.
Getting towards the end.
Yeah. The what do you get? You should be able to hear a lot more than my voice. You should be able to see a lot more than my voice. Because again, I lie. Everybody does. Computers don't. Computers don't give you estimates either. They give you hard numbers. And that's the beauty of this business. You take an ad and you put it in a magazine, and they tell you, well, we printed 60,000 copies. What they don't tell you is that 30,000 of those are still in the warehouse. You buy a billboard, they say, well, 90,000 cars pass by this billboard every day. Yeah, how many look up and read my billboard? You buy an ad on television, they say, well, Nielsen says 400,000 families are watching this. Yeah, but they all got up to make a sandwich when your ad came on. On the web, you know exactly how many people saw you and how many people contacted you. We actually have software that lawyers hate using it, that could tell you exactly to the penny what your ROI is. They hate using it because they don't want to tell me how much. And we would have access. We wouldn't care, but we'd have access to that. But you'd know exactly where your sites rank, and this is actually a piece of software, so on any of these you can click and get details for what keyword. Go to the next one. What your visitors are. Not only how many, but coming from where. In other words, and I mean that in both senses, like did they come from Australia or did they come from Texas? And coming from where, in other words, what site were they on when they found out about your site? Whether that is one of the search engines, or whether it's one of those link exchanges we were talking about, or whether it was the San Diego Union did an article on you, you'll know exactly where that traffic is coming from. So, LRS, you're getting 30,000 hits a month. You're ever curious about knowing where they come from? Give us a call, because we've got it all for you. Up to now, yeah, pointing at you, we've been working with Mary. I didn't even know you existed. So we should have a little bit closer relationship. You know a lot more about what's going on your site. You're getting a lot of traffic. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.